military-neutral Montenegro as a stability factor at the Balkans. Yes, it is a vision of the peace movement. No to war, no to NATO. The idea of this presentation is primarily to express our efforts to English-speaking interested subjects and to expand and strengthen anti-NATO network globally. This all aims at the world peace, safer future and general welfare for the mankind, because there has been enough wars and shedding innocent blood. There has been enough occupation of sovereign countries and confiscation of territories and mining wealth on behalf of global superpower. Our objective is to awaken unjustifiable sleepers in order to recognize the ultimate goal of the aggressor alliance. The peace movement, No to War, No to NATO, is a network of over 50 non-government organizations and other legal entities in Montenegro. We were established in April 2010. How did we appear? It had all started from individual efforts of members of the editorial board of the INFOS portal as the founders of the movement, until the full membership of our movement into the global anti-NATO alliance, starting from sporadic poster sticking activities to an entity that has to be seriously taken into account regarding the possible Montenegro's entry into military alliances. From establishing the network until midsummer 2013, our movement organized a number of international peace events with speakers from Scotland in the west to Russia in the east and Norway in the north. Numerous intellectuals, political leaders from the region, penitent NATO officers, and well-reputed Russian generals either took part or were guests at our events. We believe that we can do more and perform better. This presentation will help you judge our results. By organizing international and regional conferences, lectures given by reputed experts and media campaigns organized by us, our mission is to practically inform our citizens of the results of possible Montenegro's entry into the NATO alliance, with a reputation of military, offensive and fully occupational machinery. And finally, to obtain the referendum at which the citizens and not public authorities shall pass a decision on non-entry into NATO in a democratic way. The Montenegro's NGO network, No to War, No to NATO, became a full member of the international network No to War, No to NATO at its annual assembly held in March 2013 in Ghent, Belgium. The international network peace movement No to War, No to NATO was established in Stuttgart in October 2009. More than 650 organizations from over 30 countries signed a declaration which meant formal start of the peace initiative called No to War, No to NATO. Our network was established in April 2010 in Murino, a small place in the poor Montenegrin north, and it became a member of a global peace network. A small place of Murino at the Montenegro's north, and its residents are the most tragic victims of the NATO aggression against Montenegro in 1999, targeting and highly purposefully, mercilessly air raiding anything moving within the 78 days aggression against Serbia and Montenegro, that is, formerly Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. NATO killed 6 innocent civilians, of which 3 children playing near the bridge in Murino. These victims commit us to be persistent in accomplishing our objective, preserving peace and military neutrality of Montenegro. The performance organized by No to War, No to NATO NGO network casted a shadow on the opening of the Informational Center on Euro-Atlantic Integration on November 5, 2012, at the Roman Square in Podgorica. The whole event, organized by the local NGO, was disrupted by sounds of civil defense sirens, bomb detonation, automatic fire, and a sound message: "This is NATO." You've already heard this.
Montenegro. I'm extremely pleased and honored to have this opportunity to be tonight here with you because I believe this event is extremely important for Montenegro. And
we presented banners, Our Children, Killers of Other Children, War for Peace Again, NATO, Contemporary Inquisition. High-level guests, among which Ms. Galinda Grabar-Kitarovic, the Assistant Secretary-General for Public Diplomacy at NATO, the Prime Minister Igor Lukšić, and many of Montenegro's ministers, NATO countries, ambassadors, Supreme Commander, Director of the Secret Police and other were completely bewildered by the performance, which started at the same time when the celebration of opening of the centre that was aimed to promote Montenegro's entry to the NATO. When visiting the premises of the NATO International Centre, the president of the No to War, No to NATO network and the editor of the INFORCE portal, Mr. Gojko Rajcevic, handed in the leaflet with the message No to War, No to NATO to the Montenegro's Prime Minister, while the Minister of Defence, Ms. Milica Pejanović-Đurišić, refused to receive the same leaflet, smilingly saying, "I have all information on you." The presentation of the NATO alliance and the Montenegro's army at the Delta City shopping centre in Podgorica to celebrate the anniversary of NATO's establishing in Washington on April 4th, 1949, organised by the NGO Atlantic Alliance in Montenegro, was interrupted by the activity of members of the NGO peace movement No to War, No to NATO, and a group of citizens. Members of the NGO No to War, No to NATO spread the banners, "Your hands are bloody," "Our children, killers of your children," "Reprobates," "What do you celebrate?" on the upper floor of Delta City, then threw down leaflets promoting military neutrality of Montenegro. Civil members of the police and the security of Delta City removed banners and leaflets that fell on the presentation podium that were quickly removed. The children that vigorously collected the leaflets, considering them as a game, were swiftly taken away along with the leaflets. The president of the No to War, No to NATO network, Mr. Gojko Rajcevic, spread the banner, "Our children, killers of your children," after which 5 policemen forcefully took away the banner. The security of Delta City and the civil members of the police tried to forcefully prevent the INFORCE cameraman to record the peace movement's activity. The blatant scenery with the demonstration of force as a new approach in promoting NATO alliance in Montenegro characterized this a birthday party. The survey showed that some 28.5% of citizens supported Montenegro's membership in the NATO, while some 54 citizens see Montenegro in the EU. According to some analysts and the protagonists of Montenegro's entry to the NATO, the peace movement No to War, No to NATO is mostly to blame for such a low support. In its mission to remain military neutral, the peace mission is not to equal position to those in favour of Montenegro's joining such an aggressive military alliance. The other side comprises the corrupted Montenegrin government, NATO NGO sector from Montenegro with significant funds, diplomatic representatives of NATO countries, US lobbying companies, pro-government marketing agents, and as this video shows, Montenegrin police, army, secret police and private security companies. Besides, they still do not have diplomatic solution to claim down the guerrilla of our peace movement. Representatives of the peace movement No to War, No to NATO paid official visit to Moscow in the period between 15 and 22nd September of 2012. Discussing with high state officials of Russian Federation, we presented our objectives and activities. During these discussions, we highly agreed on establishing cooperation among brother institutions. Peace activities of our movement in Moscow were accepted with approval and strong support. Significant people from Russian public life were guests at the anti-NATO tribunes and small events organized by our peace movement. To remind, Montenegro is a small country with a population of only 600,000 people. It is placed at the Adriatic coast. It is a single point in the Mediterranean with Syria that is not under the control of NATO alliance, that is, it is not its member. It is clear that NATO's main and final geostrategic objective is the occupation of Russia to exploit its immeasurable mining potential and establishing total domination over all life spheres at the Earth by the USA as the main axis of the NATO and its most loyal allies. Unlike the NATO government in Podgorica, and following of the will of Saint Peter Cetinski, who cursed all descendants who turned their back to Mother Russia, and for the sake of our own descendants and to preserve the honor of our ancestors, we, the members, gathered into the peace movements, No to War, No to NATO, contribute and will contribute to the failure of the Satan NATO project. Finally, it is the opinion of the majority of our population which has to be respected. Montenegrin integration into NATO organization survived fiasco at the summit in Wales following the refusal of NATO administrators to allow Montenegro into the organization. The year 2014 shall be remembered by the ruthless campaign of NATO advocates who marched into primary and middle schools, a propaganda well supported by the Ministry of Education, in order to convince children that NATO is a force that would bring a peaceful future. It is easy to imagine the ability of children to understand such paradigm shift that argues a peace offering from a military organization. No one, however, has since been held responsible for such misuse of children, which has led us to a conclusion that such tactics was orchestrated from the state authorities. A slap in the face that Montenegrin NATO advocates received in Wales has influenced the regime as well as the NGO sector to march into a new anti-Russian campaign following their assumption that Russophilia was the main obstacle to their success. Thus, the uninventive slogans, "Better banana in hand than Russian boot up our neck," appeared on billboards in Montenegrin capital Podgorica. General public saw this as a shameful act, and our response was adequate. In 2015, we plan on taking part in broadening of a peace movement in Eastern European countries, as well as those which have already become members of NATO alliance. With that in mind, we have already made connections with individuals as well as organizations sharing similar views and goals. We are available for all information about our activities. We would be happy if you contacted us. You can put this video on your website, portal, and other type of social networks and media.